And we're back. Welcome back to 20 Minutes or Less. I'm Elliot Morgan.
I'm Joe Beretta, and we are actually in your computer.
All right, so we got some crazy Mel Gibson news for you. I mean that the news is crazy, not that Mel Gibson is crazy, because he's just the freaking model for stability.
Elliot's being sarcastic.
I am, Joe. You were getting so good at this. Look, I'm just going to start off by saying that there is a very good chance that Mel Gibson is crazy. There's a good chance he harbors some horrid, deep-seated prejudices toward people of Jewish heritage, based primarily on his horrid, drunken tirades from 2006. He also allegedly beat the crap out of his girlfriend a couple years ago, which caused a media firestorm, because that's what the media likes to do. They take a gray situation and they divide it into black and white.
And we don't like doing that. I mean, we may go on emotional tangents sometimes, yeah, we get that, but we also realize that all stories aren't as cut and dry as they seem. So here are some other fun and maybe controversial Mel Gibson facts. The tapes that had Mel Gibson going on a drunken anti-Semitic rant were supposedly edited and at the height of him experiencing a mental breakdown, which doesn't give him an excuse because everything that he said was inexcusable, but it does provide some context.
Similarly, in the debacle of him being accused of being a woman beater, he maintains his innocence, and he's backed by his ex-wife, who said that he never got violent with her. But then there are all of those horrendous voicemail messages that leaked in 2010. And although most of Hollywood has completely cast him aside for all of the terrible things that he's done, not everyone has.
I humbly ask that you join me, unless you are completely without sin, in forgiving my friend his trespasses, offering him the same clean slate you have me, and allowing him to continue his great and ongoing contribution to our collective art without shame.
If Robert Downey Jr. told me to jump off a cliff, I'm 82% sure that I would probably do it. And if he asked me to forgive somebody for their transgressions, like somebody did for him, I would probably consider it. That being said, it wasn't my heritage or people that Mel Gibson attacked in a drunken stupor, and I understand that forgiving that kind of visceral hatred is next to impossible. Mel Gibson has also stated in recent years that he suffers from bipolar disorder, which again doesn't excuse him for his actions and his words, but it does provide more context.
So Gibson's been working on a film about the Maccabees for about 10 years, specifically a guy named Judah Maccabee, who is a huge hero to the Jewish community. This has upset a lot of people in the Jewish community who have been like, hey, that's our hero, and we would rather anybody directed a movie about him besides you.
Earlier this week, Warner Brothers rejected a script by the writer of the movie, Eszterhas, who was responsible for the scripts for Flashdance and Basic Instinct. After the script was rejected, Eszterhas leaked a 9-page tirade against Mel Gibson. Here are some highlights. I've come to the conclusion that the reason you won't make the Maccabees is the ugliest possible one. You hate Jews.
And if that wasn't bad enough, he also said this about their interactions in the past. You were raving at Oksana even after you'd reached a custody agreement over Lucy. And then you were even more explicit about your threat. I'm going to kill her. I'm going to have her killed. You said you'd become friends with 2 FBI agents, or former FBI agents, and they were going to help you kill her.
Mel Gibson eventually responded to these accusations with a somewhat classy response, all things considered.
Yeah, he basically apologized to the writer and his family for any strong words he may have used, but what it boiled down to was Gibson putting the attention on the script that the guy wrote and not the guy himself, saying, I guess you only had a problem with me after Warner Brothers rejected your script. Honestly, Joe, not only was the script delivered later than you promised, both Warner Brothers and I were extraordinarily disappointed with the draft. In 25 years of script development, I have never seen a more substandard first draft or a more significant waste of time. The decision not to proceed with you was based on the quality of your script, not any other factor.
Like I said, somewhat of a classy response. P.S. Loved you in What Women Want, but mostly Braveheart. Also, stop doing things that make people hate you.
Yeah, and Maverick is awesome. Also, maybe just calm down. Stop blaming alcohol for you just spewing bigotry everywhere. Just a thought.
Yeah, and rest of Hollywood, please stop airing all your dirty laundry in public. It's petty and we don't want to hear it.
Look, bottom line, we want to see this Maccabees movie because at the end of the day, Mel Gibson does tend to make awesome movies.
Really good movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the comment box down below, let us know your thoughts of the last 7 years of Gibson mania.
Click the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and you can click this here annotation bar, or you can always go to SourceFed.com to see our 5 daily uploads or anything we've ever done. I'm Elliot Morgan.
I'm Joe Beretta, and you will never take our freedom.